But Apollo 13 is still really the mission that we think about when we talk about what a real flight control team can accomplish when they're up against a hard set of choices and a hard set of failures. This mission was deemed to be a successful failure. But what you don't see in the movie version of it is the years and years of preparation that went into this. Really, all of the experiences that this team had gained through Mercury and Gemini, through the tragedy of Apollo 1, and then 6 successful flights of Apollo, that all happened before this took place. These were people who over time had learned the hard way that the unexpected absolutely will happen, and that they had the confidence in their own skills to be able to handle it, whatever it came. Do you remember the scene in the movie where a guy comes along and dumps a box of stuff on a table and says, we have to make this square thing fit in this round hole with this? This is the end result of that. So this guy, let me see if I can make this work. This guy in the middle is Deke Slayton. He was the chief of the astronaut corps at the time. And he's showing to the managers a prototype of what we want the crew to be able to do. And if you don't remember the particulars of this, so the command module was compromised when it had the big failure, an explosion in the cryo tanks that blew out the panel on the side of the vehicle, and it took down their power systems, it took down a lot of the support systems in the command module. So although the command module had some very robust life support systems, it couldn't work. They didn't have the power to run them. So the crew moved over to the lunar module, whose systems were much less robust. You can imagine there were 2 separate contracts to build these 2 vehicles. I bet a lot of you can think of all the problems involved with that right there without me saying anything else. The 2 carbon dioxide removal systems were built by 2 different people with 2 different sets of specs. The lunar module, it had to be very lightweight, and it was pretty short term for 2 people, not for 3 guys that were using it as a life raft, as they were in Apollo 13. Meanwhile, the command module had a pretty robust system. It had been tested in the 6 previous flights and could run for a very long time. So they had plenty of filters. They just didn't fit in the lunar module. So that's the problem that we're trying to solve here. This was the end result. Along with the prototype, we came up with procedures to tell the crew what they needed to do and what pieces they needed to use. And then we read those up to the crews so that they could put it together, get it in place, and solve the problem.